Marvel's Fantastic Four and the DCU Superman came out to give us a comic book packed July, and it feels good that there's so much parity in the superhero movie industry because Marvel has been serving straight mid up until Thunderbolts, while DC has been in rebuild mode for their cinematic universe. Comic book movie fans rejoice as we may be eating good. You know what they say, competition makes you better, so hopefully this is a wake-up call for Marvel and a call to action for DC. I'm Raw, and I will be the judge if the Superman movie is the ignition to propel DC moves into relevancy, and if Marvel is truly washed. So let's start with the movie that released first, being Superman. Simply put, all this movie had to do was make Superman palatable to modern audiences. And I say this because Superman has the unique trait of being the first mainstream superhero to ever exist, while being the most misunderstood superhero to ever exist. Believe it or not, prior to this movie, people did not fuck with Superman. They thought he was lame and not cool at all. I like to say that Superman has the same problem that Goku has, being that most generalize the two as being bland characters. Mind you, these two figures are the blueprint which inspired numerous other characters in their respective genres. I don't think a bland character would go on to inspire characters like Luffy, Naruto, Ichigo, and other popular manga protagonists, and the same could be said for Superman. The only thing is that Goku is still seen as generally cool, even with the bland character allegations, so Superman still stands alone in that regard. But those who actually unironically think that these characters are bland, well, that's a comprehension issue. But for Superman, it's a representation issue, specifically with his motion pictures. With a well-established character like Superman, it's real easy to get nearsighted and be in the comfort zone when writing a new Superman adaptation. This is more true given the sheer number of Superman stories out there. It could be intimidating for most to dive into those deeper comic runs, so most will rely on the basic elements of the story and common tropes of the character, even if it's not true. I know the Snyder fan thinks that Man of Steel is a masterpiece, and I mean, it's watchable. I give it like a 5.5 out of 10. But I really only liked it because of the action and the stakes were pretty serious. But as for our man that is super, this movie does not give him justice at all. It boils him down to this larger-than-life being with no passion or care for humanity. He's just overall lifeless and shares none of the traits that Superman carries and embodies. And you probably wouldn't even know that this was Superman if he wasn't wearing the fat-ass S on his chest. And the character doesn't evolve or get better with the following movies in the same verse. Sorry Snyder fans, but this character is not Superman. Hell, he's more like Black Adam than anything. So when I get James Gunn, the man who went 3 for 3 for the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, fixed the PR around the Suicide Squad, and is someone who isn't afraid to dive into the more obscure details of a superhero story to make a Superman movie. So they did, and we finally got a good live adaptation of Superman since like, what, the 60s? His emotions is akin to what the comics portray him to be. He has a superhero caliber about him. Clark Kent is also enjoyable as well as the side cast. Everyone gets their time to shine and bring their own unique traits into the world. Best character is easily Lex Luthor. Just make him a generational hater and actually smart. And they nailed the Lois Lane and Clark Kent dynamic. From start to end, you can see the chemistry these two have. They have a relationship that most of us could relate to, even if one person is an alien from outer space. I don't know, a majority of this movie just clicked with me. It embraced the fact that it's rooted in a comic book world instead of rejecting its identity like the Snyderverse. Now, I have heard some people have reservations of the political angles, the CGI action, and the Marvel-esque jokes. Now, let's not kid ourselves here. Everything these days is political, whether you like it or not. Don't expect to come to any sort of media expected to be politically neutral because, I mean, you all would use it in favor of your own political ideology or against your political adversaries depending on the content, so blame yourselves. If you can't watch a movie without being angry of a different perspective or just plain truth, then don't watch modern movies. Shifting gears, the CGI was fine to me. I mean, it's a meta-human fighting kaiju, battling in interdimensional portals and saving a city that's literally being sucked into a black hole. Did you all expect that to be practical? And the jokes are fine. I mean, it was like 2 or 3 of them that was just but overall it was very comedically on point and adds the charming corniness that Superman is all about. With all that said, I hereby give James Gunn's Superman the most solid 8 out of 10 that you will ever see. Later in July, we'd get the Fantastic Four. And just as a little background, the Fantastic Four is one of the commodities the MCU has yet to leverage for their big movies. The early 2000 movies were actually really good. At least that's what my 5-year-old brain says. While the Fantastic Four movie that came out later is just known from a single meme. So it becomes more apparent that the plot of this movie is not remembered at all. Compared to the Superman live actions, the Fantastic Four actually has a decent representation. I just think the masses forgot about them, especially with the overwhelming success of the MCU. And it sucks that it took them this long to incorporate them into this universe, because there are a lot of cool comics out there and a lot of stories you can pull from. But as stated previously, the MCU has been producing pure K2 and needed the Fantastic Four to not only be a hit, but a massive success at the box office. Well, we already knew it was gonna sell a lot, but was it actually good? I mean, it was fine. Plus, I watched it in 3D, so you all know I'm a real gamer. To start, the movie is the most lively Marvel movie to date. From the color grading, the designs, and the shots, not to spoil anything, but the space scenes genuinely look amazing. The Thing, Silver Surfer, and Galactus' CGI is seamless and is cohesive with every environment they interact with. Truly a step up from the dull, colorless movies with poor CG like the recent Captain America and even Thunderbolts to a certain extent. The cast also did their thing, no pun intended, as I was doubtful of Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, but he showed up and showed out. He was truly the MVP of the movie, and Sue and the Thing were also solid and sold me on their characters. Although I will say that Mr. Fantastic really wasn't fantastic. I felt like his powers were underutilized and Pedro Pascal isn't really built for Reed Richards. I just think he's lacking that subtle aura that Reed possesses. And it just goes to show you just can't grab the biggest Hollywood star and just plug him into a superhero movie. Next, our big bad being Galactus was a treat. He was menacing and he was presented as a real force of nature. At least during the first act of the movie, I feel like we needed more display of his powers. We all know Galactus as this big cosmic entity, but when it came to the last act and he landed in New York, he didn't really seem that powerful. Like, he didn't look or feel like he can actually eat the planet. I'm pretty sure the MCU is going to bring him back in future movies, but I just wanted more of him due to his importance to the overall Marvel lore. The story just needed to do a little bit more showing and not telling. In that same breath, the last act as a whole felt a bit underwhelming. Like, the stakes for this movie was established early and it felt significant. I thought they were really going to be in danger of failing, but it slowly felt less and less dire as the movie progressed, and you can really guess how the movie ends. Like I said, the movie was fine. It provided a fresh, colorful atmosphere and introduced the Fantastic Four into the MCU. I know I had a bit more to say about Superman because that film franchise had an absolute horrid track record, while the Fantastic Four's track record was forgettable at the worst. Plus, I had more time to marinate on the Superman film because the movie came out like 3 weeks ago. Whereas at the time of this recording, I watched Fantastic Four like 8 hours ago. With that said, I do think the Superman film is a little bit better than Fantastic Four, but the Fantastic Four is still a must watch, especially for the implications for the MCU going forward. It is undoubtedly the highest quality Marvel movie we've gotten in some time, so I'm gonna give it the old faithful 7 out of 10. Cheers to the future of comic book movies. Hope you all enjoyed. Like and subscribe. If you dislike, comment why. As always, Jesus loves you all. Stay fantastic. Stay super. I'm out.